All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the first ever leadership workshop of the semester. And as fitting, we're going to be talking about leading remotely. As everyone fully knows how we had to go all remote last semester once everything hit, and now we're kind of in this limbo of like a hybrid situation. So we're going to talk about something very important that I think is extremely relevant to what's going on in today's time. All right. We go to the next slide. All right, so I had word clouds set up, but since there's only a handful of people, we can just like talk right as we are. So before we start talking about our workshop, I just want to get a feel of how everyone's like feeling. So the question I put out today is, in one word, it can be more words now, how would you describe your feelings towards shifting to a remote way of leading? Now you can use the chat, you can unmute yourself, however you feel comfortable. I'm definitely nervous. It's something new. Yeah, that's true. It's really flexible, whereas people from one side of the country or from across the world can do it. Scared, yes. It can be nerve-wracking, but I think those nerves and like your scared feelings, that could be beneficial because everyone's feeling that same way. No one knows exactly what they're doing, and we're kind of just like going through what we know and hoping for the best. Any other input before I move on? Yeah, it's hard working from home because you have more distractions than like you're used to, and it's hard to stay on task. I know it's hard with classes because I want to like look everywhere and do my dishes rather than paying attention to what the professor's saying. All right, so in our workshop today, we are going to go over 3 overall themes for it. So we're going to talk about setting the tone. So these are like talking about the openers. There's tips in there from Pearson, those wonderful books that we have to pay so much for with so many access codes that we have to have, as well as different interactive activities that we can use virtually when we can't meet in person. Knowing your medium. So this is all about knowing the programs that you're going to be using in order to lead. So example, we are using Zoom here, so we have to know how to use Zoom in order to accurately give this presentation as well as use all the features that we can. And then we're also going to talk about engagement and knowing the medium. And then we're going to move on to creating community, how to create community in this virtual world. When we're in person, it seems like it's easy to give each other a smile, a high five. But when we're virtually, it's a little bit harder to create that sense of community and unity within your position as a leader, or in general. It's not easy. All right, so we're going to talk about setting the tone. This is what can be done as a leader to establish high quality engagement. All right, so our first slide is talking all about openings. Openings are the key. So you want to avoid the awkward staring while waiting. It's kind of awkward, like when you want to wait that like extra time to make sure everyone gets there so that no one's left out. Like, what do you do with the people already there? You just kind of like stare at each other in these like little square boxes. So you can utilize the waiting room features within the program, like we have with Zoom. You can provide pre-presentation questions or polls so that you can have people engage. I know I had professors who used the poll options on Blackboard, the Ultra Blackboard collaboration. So that was really nice. So we were able to like do something while we're waiting for her to set up, or while we're waiting for the time to start, as some people like to get to class early. And then you can also use soft music to break the unpleasant silence. So you can play music in the background when you're waiting for others. I know the Flash Activities Board did their bingo on Friday, and they played bingo music right before while they were waiting for everyone to join, so no one got left out. You also want to grab the attention of your audience through presentation hooks. It's like, this is exactly like writing an essay almost. You want to grab that person's attention before you start reading so that they can continue and be engaged while they're reading. So in presentations, you want to do the exact same thing. You can start off by telling a story. You can use powerful quotes that relate to what you're talking about, or you can start with an activity. I started out with a question, and I was going to have you guys do an activity with a word cloud, but unfortunately, due to technical issues that everyone has, it was not possible. So you can always do that. You also want to be an example of excitement and optimism before, during, and after presentations or during a meeting or any other type of get together that you're having. If you're like kind of dull and kind of boring, you're like, well, whatever. No one's going to be excited. No one wants to engage with each other. So you have to set that example of being excited, even though you might say this is hard, but you have to set that example. Your attitude is everything. If you're in a good attitude, if you're in a good frame of mind, that will perceive to other people, and they'll be in a good attitude, and they will also be in a good frame of mind. So openings are key, attitude, everything. Just be an example and be a little bit comfortable with the awkward. Right. Now we have Pearson's, wonderful Pearson's, 5 tips. These were amazing. I actually really liked them. I put, the link is right below them too. So first, you want to concentrate on motivating over controlling. You don't want to control every aspect of every single person. It's not possible. So you want to motivate those people to do what you want them to do and to be collaborative with each other. Second, you want to be positive, but real and truthful. You can't be fake. Yes, it helps to put on a little bit of fake, but we can't be like, oh, everything's fine, everything's all right, nothing's wrong. We want to be positive, but we have to know the truth. We have to know reality so that we don't set them up for something that might not happen. 3, you want to cultivate a trusting environment through the sense of unity. So you want to create this environment where everyone feels like they can trust one another, where they feel like they are the community, and that will help engage one another, that will help promote that positive and motivating sense that you established with the first 2. And the 4th, you want to provide consistency and recurring collaborative opportunities. This means, let's say you want to meet every week. Well, make sure it's every week at a certain time. Or if you want to plan activities or plan events, you want to make sure that there's a consistency with it. So it's not, well, one day we're just going to do Friday because we want to. Or one day, oh, let's just do Tuesday because that's what I can do. So you want to provide consistency with that. And then 5th, you want to attend to your own well-being. This is so important. Your own well-being, your own health is extremely important. If you're not healthy, both mentally and physically, you're not going to be the best you can be, and it's okay. Everyone has their downfalls. You want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You got to know your limits, and it's okay if you have a limit. Everyone has a limit. You just got to get through it and make sure you're taking care of yourself first. Any questions on those tips? No? Right. We're going to talk about interactive activities. This part was so fun to talk about. It's basically playing games virtually, and it's a lot of fun. So I've put down 3 that I thought of, but you can be creative and just think outside the box with whatever that you want to do. Just be creative with it. It just helps get people engaged. So I put down relive your childhood and play a game of background I Spy. So like there's so many people going to have their kitchens in the background. They're going to have their bedrooms in the background. Any type of place. I have a wonderful bare background for right now. But play an I Spy. Be like, oh, I spy something blue. So everyone has to guess, oh, what's blue in someone's background. You can also use fake backgrounds. So like ask people to change the background of their Zoom call and guess what it is or try to figure that out. You can also use games from popular late night shows like The Box of Lies from Jimmy Fallon. So you all both have, you have a thing underneath you. And it can be some crazy thing like a toothpaste holder covered in glitter. So you have to either lie about what you have in front of you where you have to tell the truth and make them think you're lying. It's a lot of fun. I bawl my eyes out of laughter because it's so funny. And then you can also flex your artistic side and play virtual Pictionary. It's a lot of fun. Zoom has a whiteboard feature that you can draw on, so you can do in a private chat, like, oh, let's do a house. So 2 people get a house and they have to both draw it, and then you gotta see if they can guess, like your teammates guess what it is. And again, just be creative, think outside the box, have fun with it. It's a great way to get people engaged, and it really helps set the tone of having people interact with one another and not have it be extremely serious, because sitting in front of a computer is not always fun. You lose that connection, you lose the ability to actually engage with one another. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can do this. So as I mentioned, Zoom allows you to change the background of an image. So I'm gonna see if you guys can change the background of your back to like a favorite TV show or movie, within reason. I just want to see.
I don't know how to do that. How do I do it?
So I think I'm not on like the actual Zoom, so it's a little hard. So I think settings, you have to go and then find your background settings. I'm not sure how to do it without looking at it.
I may have to stop screen sharing for people to try it,
Okay.
like to access all of their settings.
I don't know how to work Zoom on my phone, so that's a little hard.
Okay, I think you hit down by your start video or your little camera icon. There's like a little up arrow that has choose virtual background. And then you should be able to put something in the background. Right now, my computer doesn't support. That's how you change it, I believe.
Mine also doesn't support it at the moment. Need to update.
Mine changed part of it. So you can see that now outside of my door, it looks like I'm in San Francisco. That's supposed to be the Golden Gate Bridge, but
That's so pretty.
Yeah. So now it looks like there's a really nice view outside of my door.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little hard. Some people don't have the supporting role of it on Zoom, which is unfortunate. But that's a good activity to use if you need an activity. All right, so knowing your medium. So this is all about knowing what you're going to use and how to use it. It opens up many doors to how to engage with others within your leadership role. So here are a couple presentation approaches for success. So this is how can you make your presentation successful when you're sharing it over virtual. So you have to be mindful of the pace in which the content is being presented. Over these virtual meetings and collaborations, people tend to have more a condensed focus when they pay attention. It is hard because you have so many distractions while you're home and not in the place of learning. So you have to just be mindful of the pace. You don't have to take down your content, just kind of keep the pace going a little bit faster so that people don't kind of zone out. You want to monitor the audience's attention and interaction. So how to get them interactive. Use the chat functions is really smart. You can also use it in the video features and any other way. So you can do those polls, you can see who's actually paying attention and who's engaging using that. Less is more in terms of ensuring presentation flow. So you don't want to have your presentation filled with a bunch of charts and photos and everything in the kitchen sink. Their attention's not going to be focused on that. It's going to be too much for their eyes to look at. And then also take into account the devices of attendees. For example, we couldn't all do the background because not everyone's computer could function with it. I'm on my phone because I had technical issues. So you want to be mindful of how you perceive your presentation so that everyone, no matter if they're on a tablet, a phone, a laptop, a PC, they can view it. So with that, you don't want to have so many things on the corners because the edges are what gets cut off the most when you're doing your presentations. So just be mindful of that. And then I have a short video, it's about 7 minutes long, on speaker tips for virtual presentations. If we can get it working.
Can you all see the video? Oh, okay, hold on. Oh no. Okay, can you see it now?
Well, media. New normal has created the opportunity or terrifying reality for you to speak on camera to your audience. But how can you calm your nerves, capture their attention, and keep them engaged? In this video, you will get 7 key speaker tips to help you present like a pro at your next virtual meeting. Andrea, founder of the Every Conversation Counts platform and 17-year broadcaster for videos on connecting deeper, asking powerful questions, and becoming a captivating storyteller on every stage. Subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so you get the heads up on the latest videos that will help you make every conversation count. Now, recently, the 2 words I've been hearing, Zoom fatigue. I think we're all missing that in-person, face-to-face interaction as we adjust to the reality of operating in the presence of each other's absence. When you are given the opportunity to speak, though, and this could be in a more formal meeting or a keynote presentation, whether it's in person or in the virtual space, the fundamentals of speaking stay the same. All effective communication that drives connection is one-to-one. If you're presenting through video, think of 1 viewer. If you're a writer, think of 1 reader, and a podcaster, think of 1 listener. The next time you are asked to present at a virtual meeting, these 7 key speaker tips will help you captivate your audience. First things first, engage them early. And that involves planning beforehand. What are the priorities for your audience? Is it scheduling? Is it future projects? Is it job security? Find out what they want and then structure content that is meaningful to them. When it comes to meeting time, make sure you arrive early so you can connect with people as they pop up into the meeting. This extra 5 to 10 minutes could help you check in with people. Are they overwhelmed with Zoom meetings, home responsibilities, managing their own range of emotions? This is your chance to show them that you care, and at the same time, this exercise will help put you at ease. When things get going, out of the gate, use a poll question. Maybe use the chat function, asking people where they're coming from. What do they hope to get out of this meeting? Do they know what day it is today? But refer to them by their name, because their name is the most important word in your conversation. And when it comes to the virtual medium, we need these triggers to stay connected. There's going to be a lot going on. Explain what you're doing. If you're looking down, if you're reading questions, if you're sharing your screen, it is easy to look distracted in the virtual medium. So make sure you're describing your actions, and this will help establish purpose and intent. Number 2, level up your lighting and sound. Good lighting and sound are key ways to make a strong impression. For this setup, I use a ring light and an external lav microphone like you see right here to help elevate the production for this content. Without those elements, as you can see and hear, this video would have a completely different feel. Number 3, start with story. I get this question a lot. When you start your presentation, should you ask a question off the top? Should you share a shocking statistic? I suggest start with story. Make them feel something real right off the top. You want to hook them with an emotional roller coaster ride, because the more real that you can be, the more real the experience will feel for your audience. Now you might be wondering, well, what story do you tell? Well, think about the questions the people in your audience are asking themselves. Right now, they might be asking, well, what am I going to do now? What's the first thing I'm going to do when isolation is over? How will I reinvent? You want to build your narrative around their priorities, not yours. Fourth point, bypass the bystander effect. We've all been there. Diffusion of responsibility is a psychological phenomenon in which people are less likely to take action when in the presence of a large group of strangers. So picture this. You're the speaker, you're in a Zoom chat, and you deliver a powerful story followed by a powerful question, and then crickets. People are waiting for someone else to jump in. So if you're the speaker and you have good relationships with some of your attendees, call on them by name to help avoid some of that dead air, or have a few backup questions to ask to trigger some thoughts and ideas from your group so you can help bypass that bystander effect. In a virtual setting, the goal is consistent engagement throughout. A popular technique for adaptive learning, the think, pair, share technique. Throw out the question, give the audience some time to think about it, then get your group to pair up in breakout rooms and have them share their thoughts. After, get them to report back in your main room. These engagement triggers are vital with virtual presentations. Try and hit them every 7 to 10 minutes, because the more actively involved the audience is, the more they will listen and take action after the presentation is over. Number 6, consistency cultivates trust. It is so much harder to read people's cues and understand their personality through the screen. Consistency is really key for how you come across when trying to build that trust. If you're the joker, cracking one-liners in emails and then present with a serious tone and deadpan delivery, people will wonder who the real person is. So do yourself a favor. Whatever your vibe is, humor, edge, warmth, keep it consistent and help build that trust. Final point, practice, record, repeat. Being on camera could be a whole new experience for you, and at first it can really feel overwhelming. You might be asking yourself, well, how do I look? Is that what I really sound like? Did I smile enough? You know, when I first got into the television business almost 20 years ago, I asked a seasoned host and reporter, how long did it take you to get comfortable being in front of the camera? And he'd been in the business maybe over 15 years. He paused and he said, I'm still figuring this out. And that always stuck with me, because throughout my entire television career, I would actually watch the playback after every show and every interview to review how I presented, and more importantly, how I could improve. I look at pace, posture, microfacial expressions, fully recognizing that, you know what, it all gets better with practice. So record yourself on camera, review it, ask someone you trust for feedback, and then repeat the process. Repetition will help you gain confidence in front of the camera and help you improve for your future virtual presentations. Hope these tips were helpful. What has helped you shine when speaking at your virtual presentations? Definitely.
All right, so he brought up a lot of wonderful points. He mentioned about openings, about how to engage your participants. He also mentioned to use their name. It feels very impersonal when we are on these video calls. You just see like a person on a screen. So if you use your name, that really brings in a personal effect to your presentation, to your meetings. And also, everyone's figuring it out as they go. It's uncomfortable to start. You don't know how to like use the programs. You don't know, oh, am I loud enough? Is my speaker working? Is my camera, how's my angle? So we're just going as it goes. Be mindful of what we do and taking into account these wonderful tips, as well as the other tips that I've also presented, in order to engage and be the best that you can during your remote leading. Right. So here are a couple virtual mediums to be aware of. I put some of the most popular ones. So presentation programs, you can use PowerPoint, knowing how to use PowerPoint, most people do, Google Slides, and like even Prezi to make it a little bit more interesting, if you will. So our video conferencing softwares, currently we are using Zoom. There's also Google Hangouts, Microsoft Teams, and you can even just do like FaceTime calls with your phones. Or like I know Facebook and Instagram also do live videos, and you can call each other through like Messenger. And then be aware of your social media platforms. Everyone's on social media nowadays. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing, but it's okay. I probably would prefer if I'm not on social media. So be mindful of like Instagram. You can instant message people. Again, you can do video chat. Facebook, even Twitter, you can tweet at each other. So be mindful of like all the different mediums that you can use to connect and engage with each other. I talked a little bit about these during our virtual activities, but I will go over it again. So for Zoom engagement specifically, because Zoom seems to be the program that people most use, it has a free program, so I don't see why not. So make sure you can share your screen with others. We're sharing the screen on showing you the presentation now. You can like share your screen and you can show them a picture that you were looking at, or show them an article you're reading. You can also make Zoom a whiteboard. So I talked about that. You can do like Pictionary with it. There's also a program I know you can use with Zoom whiteboard is people can draw on your screen. Like if something's confusing, they can highlight it and ask a question about it. So that relates back to like enable the annotation features to draw on any screen. So that'll help get students more engaged and keep up with you. And then 4, utilize breakout rooms for smaller discussions. It's easier for individuals to talk in smaller groups rather than a whole big Zoom meeting. So utilize those breakout rooms for smaller discussions for greater engagement in order to get people to feel more connected and as a unity. And then be creative with virtual backgrounds to make Zoom more fun. We tried doing it with our little game of trying to find a Zoom background. So like use that and make it just fun rather than serious all the time, because make it fun so that people enjoy it. Okay. And then we're going on to our last main topic, which is creating community. And this is how to establish a sense of unity despite the challenges of being in a virtual world. So one thing to keep in mind is how can we do that within our role? So be a role model and set a positive example for others. Make sure that you're there and have this attitude. Again, attitude is everything. So be that role model, show that people that you are leading despite what's happening. Encourage one another to communicate with one another and with themselves. No one has to hide in the dark and like keep all their feelings bottled up. Make sure that you engage and communicate. And if you're planning an event or rally or anything, communicate with one another so that everyone feels like their thoughts are being met. Cultivate a welcoming environment to all. Like even if someone's late, they might be late for a reason, you don't know that. Just be welcoming. So when someone comes into your meetings, be like, "Hi Sam, how are you? Like, thank you for joining us." And like that. Advocate for the success of those around you. You want people to be successful. You want everyone to, that's the role of a leader, you want people to be successful in who they are. So promote that with each other. And then implement interactive activities for individuals to engage with one another. So that goes back to kind of like having fun. So that it builds the community so it seems like we're not all on a screen, we're actually being engaged with one another. And then outside your role, this is also very important. Even within your role, you want to make sure that you're leading outside your role despite it not being right where it's at. So encourage a welcoming environment to all. Have people talk to you. Make sure, talk to me whenever you need me. Build up a relationship and a level of trust with others beyond your position. Have those outside conversations. Ask them how they're doing. Find out information about them, like, what's your favorite color? And then like bring it up next time. Let the relationship evolve naturally and not force it to be something else. Some people are more shy than others, so you don't want to push yourself to be that person that's all over them. You want it to just evolve naturally, but keep it going and build that so you can build that trust. Let it be known that you're going to be there for support. Everyone's going through something, especially now. Everyone has something else that they're dealing with. So you just want to make sure that you're there to support others and not just be a strict role for them. And then you utilize platforms to stay in touch outside of your immediate leadership position. This goes back to like being social media. Follow that person on Instagram. Friend that person on Facebook. It lets them know that you're still there as a friend, even if you're in a leadership position. And then we're going to talk about the advantages of social media. Social media has its pros and it definitely has its cons. But we're going to talk about the advantages and why social media is a good thing to have. It provides an easy and quick way to make friends and maintain friendships. You can meet so many different people so fast. You have all that like list of recommendation friends on Facebook. You can go add friend, add friend, add friend, and look, you just made 3 friends. So it's a very easy and quick way to make those friendships. And even just commenting on a person's post, saying hi or asking a question, that is how you can like maintain that relationship. And it takes about a second. It caters to easy communication through the use of instant messaging. So basically, every social media platform has private messages where you can just connect with one another. You can even slide up on people's stories and be like, oh, that's so cool, where's that at? So that's an easy way to communicate, and it's so quick to do it as well. It promotes empathy through the use of sharing about life's ups and downs. Someone will share a story about what's happening in their life, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the exact same thing I'm going through, or I went through that 5 months ago. It really builds an empathy, and it provides a more meaningful connection, knowing that someone else is going through what you're going through or have gone through. It helps to keep you in touch and farther builds relationships with loved ones. So you'll have loved ones that are probably all the way across the country that you don't even talk about, but it helps keep that connection so you can see, oh, well, Aunt Mary just got married like 2 days ago. That's so cool. And then it connects individuals despite distance and location. So in the terms of Kent State, someone could probably be in India and be collaborating with people right here on campus. So no matter where you're at or the distance, you can still connect with all these different individuals, even if they're in their homes or right across the street. It doesn't matter where they're at, you can still make that connection. And then I have a little ending question, kind of relating back to our first. So we talked about how we're like feeling about remote learning. We're all scared, anxious, not sure how to go about it. It's hard. So how do you feel about remote learning now, leading now? Excited? Awesome. I'm excited. I think it's a good challenge. I think it's, well, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I think it's a good challenge. And if you think about it, with your leading position now, you can always go into like job interviews and be like, well, I established this all while virtual. I know how to manage Zoom. I know how to manage Google Hangouts. I know how to manage Microsoft Teams. You'll have so much under your belt just going through this and feeling it out as a unit, basically, because not everyone knows what they're doing. And I think that's just so beneficial. And I think it's a good challenge to like have with you. And then as that concludes if you have any questions, just be sure to follow the Leadership Center on Twitter and Instagram at Kent State Leads, so you can know more about all our programs that we have, like Kent Talks and everything. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns? No?
All right, well, before we go, I'm going to do a little selfish plug for some things that are coming up. So we do have a couple programs that are coming up if you liked what you heard today. So Andrea talked in her presentation about using Instagram as a form of engagement, and we are going to do just that later this week. So hopefully we can use some of your tips and tricks in that. But on Thursday, so that is the 10th at noon, we're going to do an Instagram live. It's called Lessons in Leadership. And actually, Megan Factor-Page, who is on the call with us today, is going to be interviewed about what it means to her to be a leader, her leadership experiences, so we can get to know a little bit about people within our own community. So again, that's Thursday the 10th at noon on Instagram, and our handle is just at Kent State Leads. And we have a few of those coming up this semester. So later on, we have Dr. Talia Drummer Farrell, our Dean of Students, is going to be an interviewee. Joshua Bellamy, who is the past president of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and then Tierra Moore, who is our USG president. So we have some really cool people lined up this semester, so you'll get to see those later on. And then on September 23rd at 5, we have our next SLC workshop. So if you liked what you saw today, Arkila Metcalf is actually going to be the one presenting our next one. And she is talking about women in leadership and the idea of imposter syndrome. So we're really excited for some of these programs that we have coming up. All of this goes out in our newsletters that we send out. So if you're interested in getting on that newsletter, if you aren't already, you can email lead@kent.edu and we can get you signed up for that. But thank you all so much for coming out today. It was great. And thank you, Andrea. I know you can't hear everybody as we're clapping, but if we were in person, we'd be giving you a great round of applause. All right, well, we'll stick around for a second in case anybody has questions, but if not, we appreciate your time today and hope that you took something away from the workshop. Enjoy your day.